This video is about the repair of the scuttle on the Mark II Jag. This is the cause of the problems. It's this flap that sits from inside the bulkhead. So it actually sits behind this area, and you actually withdraw it from within the car if you're removing it. It's not to say you have to remove it in every instance, but in this situation our only option was to cut it out of the vehicle. And the reason is this hinge that sits in this position gets jammed up. So what we had to do in this instance was to cut out the bulkhead here, and then drill out the spot welds across the top. Now sometimes if you can see the spot welds, you'll have the rivet here and here, but then you have spot welds all the way along. And looking at this, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spot welds approximately. Could vary. Difficult to say how many, but anyway. Some people are able to simply lubricate that hinge and free it up eventually. Just make sure that they put a lot of lube in there. In this instance we couldn't move it at all, so we had to take this route and cut it out completely. So because we couldn't see the spot welds along the bulkhead here, onto which this hinge was spot welded, we had to cut through and instead drill out the spot welds that run across the top here. So this whole piece of the bulkhead will need to be reinstated as a new piece, and a piece that comes under here as well, and then re-welded back in. And in the meantime we'll replace the pin on the piano hinge with a brass one, so it shouldn't seize up like it has done in this instance. But to understand how you get at all of this, you need to lift up the scuttle plate. There'll be 3 2BA bolts, round head bolts, or screws that fit in here, in the middle, and on the side here. They're likely to snap off. You can then drop the mesh down into the plenum, and then you can reach the brackets, or they're like this, on each end, and you'll have, dropping down from the scuttle closing plate, of very lightweight screws that again are likely to snap off. So you need to remove the nuts that hold them on and then unscrew it. Similarly, as you can see here, the bolts have a tendency to snap off, so these will need to be replaced as well. So I'll go for 5/16 bolts instead of what's in place here. So it can be a fair bit of work, or if you're lucky and you can lube it up, then you can free it up by hand, but in this instance we couldn't do it, so that's what we had to do. Just to understand how it all connects up to the levers, so I'll just show you from inside the car. That's the lever there that you normally see, and that connects to the other end of the vent lever. And if you can't move that easily backwards and forwards, then it's the piano hinge that's seized up. So in the most part there's no real need to remove all of that, just push it out of the way. You can't lubricate the hinge from this side of the car easily. You can get in from possibly that end where the glove box or the dials are. You can't really see much from this end easily. Not much to see there from the plenum chamber. So most of the work has to be done from here. So you have to remove the top of the scuttle plate and then lube up inside there, getting upside down. So this unit, this hinge and flap, actually sit from within the car, and then you have to withdraw it from the side. It's probably one of the most awkward jobs for such a simple little problem to solve, to do on the Mk2. So it's a lot of work for such a simple problem. So good luck on that if you have the same issue.